Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Koss, and I'm excited today to have two fine guests that I'm going to ask to introduce themselves shortly. It's another edition in a series of our podcasts. This one's going to focus on Central Florida and the villages, and specifically Sumter County. And I'm very excited today to have two women that are part of the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. And Sharon and Susan, if I could just ask you to introduce yourself briefly, tell the audience about what you do in Sumter County and a little bit of your program, and then we'll dive much deeper into that shortly. So I want to thank you both for joining, and please introduce yourselves.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Good morning. My name's Susan Cook. I actually have two jobs with the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. I'm a victim advocate, and I'm also a coordinator of our DREAM program, which my director, Sharon, helped start through Sumter County. And the DREAM program is what we're specifically probably going to be talking about today, which is our watch program for those with Alzheimer's and special needs.
Great.
My name is Sharon. Oh, my name is Sharon Doncourt. I'm the Director of Victim Services. So my unit incorporates both our victim advocates, and we also have crisis intervention specialists that focus on mental health related calls. They respond out with our deputies, so they work shifts just like our deputies. So my unit is kind of both of those. And we also work with some non-traditional law enforcement programs like the DREAM program, because people with special needs, Alzheimer's, dementia, kind of all falls under our unit. So.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both. So my audience at this point might be asking, so wait a minute, why is Mike talking to the sheriff's office in Sumter County? So so I want to share a very personal story with the audience to kind of frame up, I think, what, how I met Susan first, and what they're about, and how it helped my family tremendously. So my personal story, and I'll try to keep it short. It was back in early March now, so it's been a little while. We have a home in the Villages, and many in my audience know it's three of us. It's my wife, Ruth, and I, and our son, Kevin, who has a traumatic brain injury. Kevin is now 39 years old, lives with us full time. Kevin, over the years, this is the first time this has happened in Florida. It's happened in Michigan once or twice. It's been a number of years. But Kevin, uh, one night at our home in the Villages, um, we had a knock on the door. The doorbell was ringing. It was probably around 1:30 a.m. And my wife, Ruth, got up, answered the door, and I was in a dead sleep, frankly. And she's yelling, Mike, Mike, the door, come on to the door. I get to the front door, and there are two Sumter County sheriffs standing at my doorstep, two young men, um, which I was shocked. What Sumter County sheriff's doing at my doorstep? And they said, we think you're missing something or someone. And right away, Ruth and I both panicked, ran into Kevin's bedroom, no Kevin, ran into the back, and apparently he had, now just to frame this a little bit, I have all these little makeshift alarms that I set up on our doors at our home in the Villages. And they all work. They work great. In fact, I double alarm the front, the laundry room, the garage. Well, I never put an alarm. We've got the sliding lanai door in the back, and he never opens that. But even if he did, there's another door to get out the backside of the lanai. And That's hard to get at because we pull a shade down over it. Well, apparently Kevin figured that out. Well, part of the challenge too, Kevin, if he gets up in the middle of the night, he's almost like he's sleepwalking, right? He's doesn't know what he's doing. For some reason, he wants to shed clothing. So off Kevin goes into the neighborhood, not fully clothed, and in the middle of the night. So the sheriff said, we have your son. And, our hearts are pounding, okay, is he, oh, he's okay. Don't worry, Mr. and Mrs. Cost, your son's just fine. And anyway, they ended up, by protocol, I'm sure, they sent him to Leesburg, the University of Florida Hospital, right? And because they didn't know, I mean, you just don't know when you find somebody roaming the neighborhood like that in the middle of the night. Um, they don't know what might be wrong with that person. But so they sent him they said he's on his way to University of Florida Hospital in Leesburg. He's fine. You got a great kid, and they were just very comforting and reassuring. And so I got dressed, obviously, and headed out the door to head to Leesburg. And before I left, well, I still had the officers at our doorstep. I asked them, I said, how did you find us? How did you find our house and all that? Because I couldn't put two and two together. Kevin had no ID on him, right? Um, on and on. And they said, we have an officer we kind of refer to him as our forensics person. He's very good with social media and the internet and being able to kind of find things. And somehow this officer found Kev Advotech, my blog, my website, which is splashed with lots of pictures of Kevin, right on the front page of my website is Kevin. So that's how they found their door, put two and two together. Okay, somebody in the villages, because I even mention all over my website, we have a home in the villages. So anyway, I guess what they told me is Kevin ended up a block or two away behind our home on somebody's front doorstep, which scares the bejesus out of me, right? I mean, just the thought of that could have had a different kind of outcome if that neighbor or person had reacted differently. But to their credit, whoever that neighbor was, I'll never know.
Mhm.
Contacted sheriff's department, called 911, and your officers were just amazing. I mean, they were incredible, so thoughtful and caring. And so it turned out okay. It turned out very good. And then kind of to round out the rest of the story here, um, I got to the hospital and it was pretty cute. I walk in, oh, you must be this young man. They didn't know Kevin's name, right? He was just listed in the hospital as John Doe. And oh, you must be a young man's father, a young man they just brought in an hour ago. And I said, yeah. Oh, what a good kid you have. And they took me back in the room, and there was Kevin laying there. They had him in a gown, covered up in a gown. And one of the nurses and one of the aides were in the room with him, and Kevin was just singing away. They said, they said, your son is so sweet. He's been singing to us for the best. So, so it was, I can't say enough good things about the hospital staff as well. It was just incredible. So what your guys told me that evening was, look, you're going to hear from our victim advocate or senior advocate department, somebody by the name of Susan Cook, and she's going to reach out to you And we have a program in place, a safety program, and we think that we've got some things to offer you that might benefit Kevin. So that was our story, which was a tough, tough night. But I got to you folks, and you took good care of us. And we'll talk more about this. I'll let Susan and you and Sharon, talk about what you offer, what you bring to the community for folks like Kevin. But one of the things we have that's extremely valuable, I don't know if you could see it here, but it's a watch. It's a GPS watch that Susan set Kevin up with. And what's unique about this, now, mind you, I'm a technology guy. I've tried everything for Kevin over the years. Different GPS watches, putting AirPods in his pocket, right? To
Yeah.
track him if something happens, if he wanders. And none of it works when you think about it, because the common denominator is he takes everything off, right?
Right.
Starting with any piece of jewelry or watch. So I said, I said this you, Susan, I said, I need something that Kevin can't get off. And he said, well, geez. So on this watch is a little lock on here. It's a simple lock. And it's got this little device here that's pretty easy to use to unlock it. Well, great news is Kevin has not been able to remove this thing. And so
Good.
it's been a lifesaver. So thank you for that. There's a few other things, Susan, that you set us up with as well. I'll let you both talk about the program and some of the things available in your kit. And before I turn it back to you, I would be remiss. I want to look for these names here. I am so tardy in sending a thank you letter. I mean, I'm ashamed of myself, frankly, because I'm usually good at doing this, but I've been wanting to send and meaning to send the officers a thank you for how awesome they were that night. And so the two that showed up at my front door, if it's okay that I share names, it's just
Yeah.
so it's Corporal Wilson,
Okay.
Deputy Whitworth, and then the forensics guy that I ended up talking to on the phone that said he found me through, social media is a Deputy Froelich. Froelich, am I pronouncing that right?
Yep. Mhm.
But anyway, to those three,
All great deputies. Yep.
oh, it's just incredible. I mean, it just made me feel so good to be part of the community and to know that we have such fine people, serving our community. So I want to personally thank all three of them, and hope this podcast, once I publish it, finds its way to them. So
We will definitely
Yes.
pass it along.
that's
We are very blessed here, and it starts from our command staff, just people that work with our agency that have a heart for serving people and a heart for our community. And it's evident in, like I said, the command staff and the programs that we run to all of our deputies. We take a lot of pride in training our deputies and responding, especially to people with special needs or mental health issues. So it really warms my heart to hear that.
it absolutely shows. So you're all doing something right. So thank you. So
Thank
now,
you.
with that backdrop and very personal story, um, Sharon or Susan, either one of you, take it away. Tell the audience a bit about your programs and how they're benefiting the community.
If you don't mind,
Nope, go
I'll
ahead.
start.
Yeah.
So one of the things I consistently hear from the citizens of Sumter County is they're just overwhelmed and so excited about all the services that Sumter County has to offer. A lot of people who've moved into the area have really never had any contact with the sheriff's office before. And so when they meet us, sometimes it's because of a dementia related incident. We also go out into the community to let citizens be aware of all of our non-traditional services. One being the DREAM program. And we call it the DREAM program because it stands for Dementia Recovery Education and Management. What that includes, like you said, Kevin, is the watch. Our watch program, it's a GPS tracking program where the caregiver will download an app on their phone and they're able to just press that little button, open that app, and see immediately where their loved one who's wearing the watch is located. The nice thing about this is, a lot of caregivers are, whether it's special needs or dementia related, they're walking on eggshells, not knowing when are they going to leave, when are they going to wander. You're taking a bath or a shower and you're just always on edge, wondering where are they at. My eyes aren't on them for that 5 or 10 minutes. This allows them to kind of relax a little bit. Typically, what happens when somebody wanders from the home is the caregiver is going to look around the home first, and then they're going to go outside the home, maybe go to neighbors or a mailbox. And typically, about 45 minutes has passed before they'll call the sheriff's office to let us know that that person has wandered. So
Mhm.
we're kind of behind the curve at that point at 45 minutes. Somebody can get pretty far in 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So this kind of really takes place at, everybody's always welcome to call 911 if somebody's missing. But this way, they're able to look at their phone and say, oh, they're 2 doors down at the neighbor's house. So it really brings a lot of relief to the caregivers. It really is great for the sheriff's office as well. We're happy that you're able to find your loved one quickly. It saves us services. So it's really a win-win on both sides.
Sure.
And Sumter County, not only do we do the watch service we have the Peace of Mind program, we have the Vial of Life, the Scent Kit, which I think we gave you right away as well.
Yep.
All those services are through our SAFE program. The SAVE program is free for anybody who's interested. You can either email us or come into any sheriff's office and pick up the packets that explains every service. And then there's an application. We can add you into our system. So all that information is going to be at our deputies' hands to let us know, like with Kevin, okay, here's what's going on, and we know who to contact. And it even tells our deputies what some triggers may be for certain people, whether it's flashing lights, loud noises, having to speak in one question sentences, because we really want the best kind of interaction between the citizens and the deputies. We
Sure.
understand that there are a lot of special needs for
That
people.
that's important because yeah, like you mentioned, every individual has a different trigger or way of communicating. Like with our Kevin, he is mostly nonverbal. He understands 100% of what someone else is saying, but he can't respond in a clear sentence or appropriate type of response. So Kevin's way of communicating is a lot of high fives. If he's in a good mood, he's giving you, everybody, a high five around him. If he likes you, it's high fives. And which is funny because that's exactly what he was doing at the hospital. All the women were telling me at the hospital. So that's
I was lucky enough to get a couple high fives from
you got high fives in the office with him. And so the other thing, Susan, not to dive too deep into some of these, yeah, part of the other thing. So in addition to the watch, yes, you did give us, and it blew my mind, by the way, and it made perfect sense after I thought about it. You gave us this scent kit, and then tell us about this scent kit. So I guess you just, you know.
Well, the
We
scent.
haven't used it yet, in all honesty, but we have it and we're going to. And then that vial of life. But the scent kit, I guess, the dog you got dogs you at
Yes.
your disposal to track people if necessary, or what?
Yes, we do. We have quite a few of our bloodhounds. So the scent kit basically is a glass vial that you complete by taking a pad. There's a special pad that's provided, and you rub it in areas that have scent, underneath the arms and things like that. You put that gauze pad inside the glass vial, and it's good for 7 years.
Oh,
You
wow.
seal it, yeah, you seal it. You can just set it up on top of your refrigerator. Hopefully it's never, we don't want it to be needed. But
Mhm.
if we do, it's one of those we like to be proactive and not reactive. If we do need it, that scent is, everybody is scent specific. So we want the dog to have the best scent possible. I have had a lot of people ask me, well, why can't they just use our clothes or their clothes? We can certainly do that if you don't have a scent kit available. The
Mhm.
nice thing about this is that this is just specifically for your son, your wife, your husband. Uh, Myself sitting next to Sharon, I'm picking up her scent and she's picking up my scent. So if a dog were to smell, both of those scents are going to be on her clothing and my clothing. So
Mhm.
this really is going to narrow down the dog's focus on finding Kevin. The bloodhounds, they are very sweet. They have the long ears. They rustle up the grass in order to help pick up the scent. I also heard that they have the wrinkles, which kind of holds the scent in place.
Yeah.
And then when they shake, they're shaking out the things. And when they locate the person, the dogs may give you a little kiss.
Well, that's funny. Well, as you both know, I'm sure villagers love their dogs, right? A lot of
Yes,
dogs are there, so they'll be happy to know that there's some dogs out there doing some really good things for the community.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
So tell
I
tell
think
me,
Sharon has a
yeah.
story of our bloodhounds finding one of
Yeah.
our residents.
We had a young man with autism that lives in our community who wandered from home overnight, and it was almost 24 hours, but in a very highly densely wooded area down in the south end of the county. Water, like I said, very thick brushes and woods. We had multiple agencies out here searching for this young man. The bloodhounds were the ones, they did not have a scent kit, but they were able to track his scent and locate him. And he was located in neck deep water.
Oh,
So they very honestly saved this young man's
Yeah.
life.
oh,
So they are they're amazing.
Yes.
They really
that's
are.
that's
Um,
incredible. Yeah,
yeah.
great. No, wonderful story. So that's the part of the dream program, these kits, right, that we're talking about. What?
That is for anybody. That is for
Yeah.
any citizen.
Okay,
So typically it's for children, so a lot of parents will come in and have their children
Mhm.
complete a scent kit, and then those who wander or have a special need.
The
okay,
dream program is specifically the watch.
Yes.
That's the GPS. So we kind of, the more we get involved in these kind of non-traditional programs for people with disabilities, the more that we realize we need. And so we kind of lumped all of our non-traditional programs into a program we call the SAFE program, because that's what we're trying to do is keep
sure.
people safe and be proactive to keep people safe. So the dream program is underneath our SAFE program. That's specifically the watches. The scent kit is part of our SAFE program. We also offer for anybody with a disability, with hearing impairment, visual impairment, we have what's called the Sheriff's Office Safe ID card. And that's something that people can carry in their wallet that has an emergency contact and some demographic information on the front. And
Hmm.
on the back, it has tips for law enforcement officers. So if they want to, say maybe, they're hearing impaired, but they communicate best with written instructions, they would put that on there. If it's somebody with autism and they get very overstimulated with flashing lights, like please turn your lights off. Please, loud noises or touching triggers me, anything that we want the deputies to know. So they can present those cards to them, but as a safety net for us too, we also put that information into our computer automated dispatch system. So if
Hmm.
that person's name is run, right, they might not be able to present the card. Maybe like Kevin, they're not carrying their wallet on them. They don't have any information on them. But if we do run their name, all of that information is available to our deputies to help them best communicate with that person and keep them safe.
I think that's great, Sharon.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm kind of getting a little bit off track here, but I think as a society or whatever, we're all paranoid, about HIPAA, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Privacy, info, this and that. And I get all that, frankly, especially, our the with our son Kevin. But
Hmm.
on the flip side of that, I'm a big believer in the more information available at somebody's disposal, like you folks, law enforcement or somebody else in the
Right.
community, the more, and even other individuals, right? The more we know or others know about our children, we could be a little bit more proactive in preventing, a bad outcome, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
so no, I think that's great, and I know you
Yeah.
folks are out in the community a lot too, talking about this stuff. Have out
And
of
it's all
curiosity,
information.
go ahead. I'm
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I
I was
was
just going to say the information that we are provided is all information that's voluntarily given to us
Yes.
for
sure.
that reason,
Yes.
Yep.
and we're not sharing that. It's like you said, just because there can be behaviors that are maybe concerning to law enforcement if you think about how law enforcement is
Yep.
trained and the things that they encounter. So if they're aware, like you said, the more information that we have on people and how they best communicate and how to make them feel safe so that everybody goes home from that interaction safe.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all about having a good outcome. So I
Right.
totally
Yeah.
agree. Yep. Now, so have out of curiosity too. Did you speak? Did either of you speak at we've got so many incredible special needs clubs and groups that a lot of the parents and caregivers and volunteers have built over the last 5 years. There's a group called, I wish I knew what the acronym stands for. It's AFINS, AFINS. And two amazing women, two Debbies, Debbie Beaucaire and Debbie Jenkins, head this group, this advocacy group.
Mhm.
And what they're doing is working with families around the entire community to help them um, fill out paperwork for APD, for social services, for benefits for, special needs children, and because that's a complicated administrative nightmare to deal with quite often. So
Mhm.
they're really helping a lot of families. They've had special guests in from time to time in their monthly meetings that present, what's going on in the community. I'm just curious if that sounded familiar to you and if it's something you
No,
might.
I
Mhm.
mean, we'd be happy to attend or to speak. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. We do have a limited number of watches
Yep,
for Sumter County.
yep,
We do have them available for those who are special needs or autistic, and for obviously dementia wanderers. We do have some pre-qualifications for that.
yep,
One of which is if they are autistic or special needs, we require that there has to have been some form of law enforcement intervention or
yep,
a call by law enforcement for assistance.
yep,
We would love nothing more than to give everybody, every parent who has an autistic child, we don't have the budget or the funds or anything along those lines in order to do that massive amount. So that is the reason behind it.
yep.
But yeah, certainly we would love to speak at, we love getting our information out to everybody because even if the program may not qualify for themselves, they may have a neighbor or a friend that they know who's going through this and they can pass that information along as well.
Sure. No, absolutely. And I get it 100%, right?
Mhm.
There's not an unlimited supply of anything, right? So it's all about budgets. And so no, my thinking was not necessarily about the gadgets, right? The safety gadgets. It's more about um, building, continuing to build that camaraderie and trust and confidence in the community between law enforcement and community, right? I
We
think,
would love to any groups or people to come to speak to, and also, we look at it as an opportunity for us to learn what the needs are in the community, right? This is what we have to offer. Of course, sign up for any programs and any resources that we have, but we also love to hear from the caregivers and the people in the community to say, hey, this is what we really need, and let's work together in partnership to develop something that's going to continue to meet the needs of our community and advance how we
Yeah.
respond in these situations.
yeah, no, that's great. That's great. The other thing too that just came to mind, and not to not to stir up, a project or anything, but something to keep in mind, and maybe you can't even accept it, but as you both know, um, the villages especially is ripe with eager volunteers, right, for
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how many people have come forward to work in our groups and help our kids. The same goes for a lot of the seniors, right? The some of the seniors that are struggling. Um, Fundraising is we do a lot of that, and people are so giving. So if you ever run into a situation where maybe you're getting too popular and too well known and things like this are in demand, right? Some of these gadgets, come talk to us, right? Because we could help raise money. I mean, if that works with the department, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people with big hearts. Yeah,
Yeah. And that is one amazing thing about the villages. I have to
Yes.
say, as a community, I don't live in the villages, but from what I have seen from working here is just an enormous amount of people willing to give their time, their energy to each other, to build this community. And the support that I see for people is astounding.
yeah.
So often we hear about the bad parts of different communities, and I'm fortunate to hear a lot of the good things of my neighbor's newspaper wasn't taken in by noon, and they usually always pick it up, and that neighbor will call and do a welfare check.
Mhm.
So there really are, I've seen so much help from neighbors, assisting neighbors. They'll call me to ask for assistance with how can they best help their neighbor. So really, it is a great community, and a lot of neighbors just look out for each other, and it's really wonderful to see.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny you mentioned. Yeah, there is some bad press out there, right, about the villages and that, and it's like, okay, I get it. It's like that in every community, but honestly, I don't see it, and
Yeah.
maybe my lenses are always looking for good versus the bad. I don't know, but
There's a lot of good.
A
There's a lot of
lot.
good.
absolutely. So as we wrap up this conversation, um, first of all, I can't thank you both enough for what you're doing for the community, what your department is doing for the community, and on a personal level, what you folks did for my son Kevin and Ruth and I, just to prevent what could have been a not so good ending, right? And so I appreciate you both coming on, allowing me to share this story and let the audience get to learn a bit more about you and your department and what you bring to the community. Is there, I guess, maybe in a final wrap question, is there anything else, either of you would like to share with the audience, as far as the program, how to contact? What I'll do when I publish my podcast, I'll include a slide on the front end and the back end, contact info. So please send me what you would like to see on that slide, right? I don't want you inundated with, if you've got a generic email or something, whatever, that's fine. I don't want you inundated with dozens of calls, but I'll have that contact info. But is there anything else as we wrap up this?
I just want to say
I've enjoyed this conversation.
thank you for giving us a platform to get our information out there. That's You know, the more people that know about our programs, the better. And if they can't use any of our services, they may know somebody who does. You said putting the phone number out there. I encourage, I love my job. I'm very fortunate. And I love talking to people and finding out what services are best going to fit their lifestyle and what their needs are.
Great.
I definitely agree with that and second that. And like I said, we are just lucky enough to work in a community for a sheriff. Sheriff Breeden is so forward thinking with the
Yes.
programs that he allows us to initiate. So if anybody listening has ideas or groups that would like us to come speak or would like to give us their input, we are more than happy to have those conversations and reach out to us even if there's we try to foster a lot of relationships in the communities with our community partners. So if somebody needs help, we even if it's not a program that we offer, we have a lot of connections within the community to refer them to someone to get help. You mentioned the APD and trying to navigate that. So we have a we our my unit is just I'm very blessed to have employees that have a heart for people, a heart for serving people, like I said, within us, within our whole sheriff's office. So reach out to us. We're happy to give you the help or at least send you in the right direction.
That's great. We really appreciate that. Sharon, your job must be, as we know, Central Florida and the villages just keeps growing and growing, right?
It does.
I'm sure you're dealing with, and those are good challenges, right?
Yes.
Growth is good.
And
So
I love my job. So I'm happy to take on, like you said, the new projects. Bring them our way. We love it.
that's great. And I could tell, I told you, Susan, when we first met, I could tell you loved your job, Sharon. Your face is shining, and boy, that means a lot. I mean, it feels good to get out of bed in the morning, right, and do something that is helping others. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to thank our audience for tuning in today, and both Sharon and Susan, thank you again, and we wish you all the best. Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for having us.
You bet.